Hey everyone, thanks so much for stopping by today. I am going to be doing a 12 by 12 scrapbooking process here today for the scrapbooknerd.com online shop and blog. And I'm going to be using design team member Milena's sketch for my layout today. And I just love this sketch. I think it's really cool and I love how it's created on the diagonal. I'm going to be using products from Pink Fresh Studio December Days collection from the shop today. And I absolutely love this collection. I love the color palette that's in this collection and all of the little bits and pieces that are with it as well. Excuse me. And so I'm just going to take a diagonal, or I should say a triangle, off of this sheet of paper, just one for the top and one for the bottom of my layout. And I'm going to adhere those down, and then that will kind of create the direction of the diagonal for the rest of the design for the layout. I'm going to take my 4x3 photograph here and I'm going to just map that onto some cardstock that matches the red that's in that Pink Fresh Studios paper. And I'm also going to take another piece of pattern paper from the collection and create the diagonal line that's going across the middle of the layout as well to create the base for the rest of my layout. So I'm just going to trim this up with my Tim Holtz trimmer. I absolutely love this trimmer, and the ladies have that trimmer over in the shop. It is fantastic, and I find myself reaching for that more and more all the time as I'm just getting used to using it. Now what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of 1/4 of an inch of the edge of this layout off, and that will allow me just to put this piece of 12 by 12 paper across that center so that I can run it on a diagonal. And I'm just going to trim it up on the edge a little bit just so that I can get that diagonal line for that paper going. And you'll just see me take a little wedge off of each end of that paper. Excuse me, it never fails, but I always get a frog in my throat when I go to do a voiceover. Sorry about that. So I'm just going to take that same trimmer again and trim off that little triangular piece off of each end. And now I can just lay this on an angle. And like I said, that's going to be the center section of this diagonal layout. Now I'll just pop my photo onto there, also on an angle. And I will end up popping that up onto some fun foam, and I'll show you that in a bit. I'm going to take a couple of pieces of cardstock from my stash to add as strips on one side of this layout. Just because I wanted some solid paper as well, not just pattern paper, to work on this design. So I've just taken a few bits and pieces from the December Days collection and cut strips that go along with that design that Milena created for her sketch. So I'm just completely going off the sketch here. So if you're wondering about the links of the pieces of paper for your photograph, it just basically has to complement the shape of your photo. And you can see that my photo is a little bit longer than Milena's was. Milena's suggestion in the sketch was more square. And so I'm just making sure that my pattern papers are kind of running along the same lines as my photo, just kind of framing it in that way. And these are all papers from December Days, except these two little strips of cardstock that I'm showing you here. Those are just from my stash. And they're just papers that complement the color palette in December Days. And I just cut them in a couple of different widths, and then I ran them through my Big Shot through an embossing folder so that they have a little bit of circular impression on them that kind of echoes the circles in some of the pattern paper that I'm using. Now I'm going through the die cut pieces that are in the die cut pack, and I'm looking for circles because the sketch suggests that the little clusters are created with circles. And then there was meant to be possibly a photograph or a square cluster to the bottom right of the photograph. And so I'm going to use this little square die cut down there, and I'm going to pop that up on some foam. So I'll get that adhered down right away here, and then I'll start working on that little cluster up to the top right. I'll end up moving that little circle die cut that I have up there already. I'll end up moving that down a little bit. And now you can see I added a little wooden button to that square piece, and I'm going to take some of the enamel dots from the collection and add those in as well. I just love how that looks. And Milena has suggested the use of lots of little circle pieces here in these clusters, and so those little enamel dots are perfect. Now this collection also has a really gorgeous set of chipboard thickers, and I'm going to spell out my title, Let's Slide, using those thickers. And then I am going to go ahead and create that circular cluster to the left of the photo as well, just using another one of the die cuts from the die cut pack. And then I'm also going to use a wooden button and some enamel dots on that cluster as well. And you can just see the repetition of that circular theme going on there in those little clusters. And then I thought that I would also use one of the puffy stickers from the puffy sticker sheet as well, which is awesome. My goodness, I've never seen a puffy sticker sheet so big. I love that. Pink Fresh Studios does such amazing work. And can you see all those enamel dots you get on that enamel dot sheet? Yeah, I love it. I love their stuff. It's awesome. So I'm pretty much done here, guys. Thanks so much for stopping by today. Stay tuned for a few close-up shots, and don't forget to stop on over at thescrapbooknerd.com. You can check the link in the description box below. Have an amazing day. Bye, guys.